yo, Ghost.
Hey, yo, I got your Killer tape. What's good?
We just finished watching The Killer.
Word.
What you think of it?
That shit was actually pretty good. Can't even lie.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I picked that one out just for you.
Word. That shit was actually pretty good. It's an OG action flick.
Right on.
You know what I mean?
Give them a little synopsis of what it's about.
So what it's about is niggas becoming best friends with Lionel Richie music in the background.
Alright, stop right there. There's a lot of moments in this movie where, and this is a trademark of John Woo from what I've seen from him. Like, for instance, there's a scene in Face Off where Somewhere Over the Rainbow plays, and he uses a lot of inappropriate music for certain things. In this movie, The Killer, there's a lot of themes. One of the main themes in the movie is friendship. So every time there's something going on where you can tell, even during turmoil, there's like very dramatic but romantic sounding music. It sounds like something that Babyface or Keith Sweat would sing to, like a ballad, and basically that's friendship music. So that might be culture shock to us, but it just seems inappropriate for those particular scenes.
Hell
but
yeah.
continue on.
And it was good because it was mad action and just mindless zombie action type flicks and all that.
Zombie action?
Yeah, because it's just mindless. Just mindless violence. Zombie shit.
Right. It's a gun movie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even call this an action movie. It's a straight gun movie.
It's mindless.
And what did you call it earlier? You called it Gun Fu.
Gun Fu, exactly.
Gun Fu, kind of like John Wick.
Yeah.
This is kind of like the father of John Wick, kind of.
Indeed.
Where, except John Wick, had a little bit more time to study movies like The Killer and, Desperado and, basically gun movies,
And fun fact, it's basically the soundtrack to a lot of your favorite Wu-Tang albums.
That's right. Notably, Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links.
Yeah.
This movie has a lot, and that's why one of the reasons why I picked this out too, because I knew you would recognize a lot of the sound bites. One of the best Wu-Tang solo albums out there. Check it out.
Churches. Why you like shooting up churches so much?
Young Wayne's not gonna hurt me.
It's cool imagery. That's where the birds are, man.
He already knew that's where you find all the baddest birds. Go to church. Church girls love gangsters.
But yeah,
I liked it.
But as far as the story, give them a synopsis of what the story's like.
I still don't understand what the story is about. The killer.
The story is simple. The story is pretty much about an assassin who's going on a job. The job kind of gets screwed up because he accidentally blinds a singer at a nightclub where he was supposed to perform this job. He kind of takes her under his wing, falling in love with her pretty much, and he's gonna do this last job, and he's gonna use that money to restore her eyesight. In the process, he's being hunted down by a detective. This detective is psychologically trying to figure out his moves, how he thinks, so he can capture him, because he knows he can't do it on his own brain, so he has to psychologically tap into his mindset.
Professor X and shit.
And yeah, in a way. So in the long run, they become friends because he starts to understand him more and more and understanding his plight. But he's still a criminal. So he's throughout the movie, he's still trying to take him in, but he starts gravitating more his side and helping him out in the long run. Yeah, that's pretty much the synopsis of this story. I mean, there's things in between involving money for guns and, criminal activity, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about it?
Yeah, because that was your clean, edited version. My not so clean edited is like, yo, alright, dude was in the cut the whole movie. Even during shootouts, he was in the cut.
Let me tell you.
It's a hell of a job. This one's for Jenny, for her eye operation. If she doesn't have it by next month, the chances of succeeding are pretty slim. There is a cornea back in Hong Kong, but it's never got any. And if
This
one
dude
does
stay
get it,
fresh, yo.
someone else is doing it.
Stay in the cut.
So we're going overseas.
He love
This
being
is
in
so
the cut.
hot there. Well,
I didn't even realize that. I'm over here acknowledging the fact that he's always dressed up. But yeah, he's always like...
In the cut. Like, yo.
I kind of want to be like him now, yo. Like,
You know what I mean? Play this harmonica while I'm looking at the church. Planning my next kill.
I have to leave now. Just a few days.
He dead wrong.
When I come back, you'll have to search it.
you think he smashed?
He definitely smashed. Look at him.
You are returning.
That nigga dead wrong. He blinded her, now he knocking it down. And she don't know who this nigga is. Wait till she find out this nigga that shot her. You motherfucker.
Oh, no. John Woo's character is the coolest cat you've ever seen in an action movie. Like, every scene, he's just like somewhere or smoking a cigarette, but he have a cigarette lit up and he's holding it like this, always somewhere in the corner, watching everything, but nobody can see him. He's just in the cut somewhere. It's hilarious.
That
I love
nigga's
it.
so smooth. He don't even smoke the cigarette. The cigarette smoke itself.
He's just holding it like
That nigga
this.
just hold it. You know what I mean? Smoke yourself, bogey, before I shoot you. You know what I'm saying? That's how real he was. You know what I mean? And then you got Jenny, and Jenny, I don't know what the hell she was thinking. Everybody else got the hell out of the restaurant when they heard the gunfire. Not Jenny. She ran towards the gunfire and somehow got blinded by a bullet that missed her.
Because logic is already out the window once you see the fact, for instance, every time he's shooting someone, he's shooting somebody in the torso. He's never shooting anybody in the face, and he's using two guns and he's using it recklessly,
And he never reloads.
Logic is out the window. People are like falling all over the place. There's scenes where it looks like they're playing gun battles in a backyard. It's just everybody's running around just shooting guns at each other. Sometimes they get shot. Sometimes, you know what? This is a movie where everybody gets shot, even the children.
Yeah.
But what you're saying is
Bullets are for the babies.
What you're saying is you're criticizing a trope. This is a movie that uses the trope where there's a victim. And the victim is always victimized because they're not thinking quick enough or they're doing something foolish. For instance, in this case, she kind of gravitates towards the violence and then violence happens to her.
How she got blinded. It didn't make any sense.
Well, it doesn't
really,
make sense,
yeah,
but it's something that happens. We just have to really accept that kind of thing. She got blinded. Because when you're watching a movie and it happens, it looks like he had the gun to her ear. So at first you think, oh man, she's deaf. No, she's blind. And you kind of don't know how. But it's easier to write about a deaf person. It's easier to write about a blind person than it is deaf because there's a lot more logic you have to think of when you're writing that kind of thing. So when you're dealing with blind people, you can write around the fact that she can't see so they can have scenes like when they're facing off with each other with guns and they're acting like they're best friends, but she can't see that they're pointing guns at each other. You know what I'm saying? That's why they had to write that in there. But you get what I'm saying.
Also, this nigga was a level AAA assassin all of his adult life, basically. But he didn't have enough money for eye surgery in the 80s.
I don't have an answer for that. I really don't. Oh, yeah.
Do. Gotta have the music to go with it. And somehow they're gonna catch up with a speedboat that's been going super fast all this whole time.
That's what speedboats do. Speedboat.
Yo, this nigga been doing 90 nautical miles a second, and we just got in a boat. We gonna catch this nigga somehow. So.
You gonna catch him. This is my first time driving the speedboat, too. He's looking for a cut to hide in.
Right?
I'm on the beach, man. I can't just be in the cut. Just in the middle of the whip.
Oh, me? I ain't killed nobody. I was chilling this whole time.
I know better.
I was just chilling. Uh-oh. The killer about to get killed?
About to get killed by somebody laying in the cut.
Always watch out for the cut.
Here we go.
She gonna be blind too?
Now I'm in the cut. Because I know better. I'm just chilling.
I'm just chilling. Yeah, they set you up. They set you up real good. They knew where you was gonna be at and everything. The diving gunshot.
In America, we call that the Stallone. This movie is fantasy anyway. This movie is illogical on all levels.
John Wick had mad gold coins. Mad gold coins.
Right. Any other criticisms?
No, man. These are more like witticisms. I just think it was funny that... Because I'm watching it for like basically the first time in 2019. So my logic is 2019. 2018 or whenever this shit came out. Not 2018, but whatever. 1980 something. Yeah, this movie made perfect sense because it was the 80s and nothing made sense in the 80s.
Right,
So,
the 80s was tacky.
Yeah, 80s was...
The 80s was very
90s
tacky.
wasn't that much better, but it was, yeah, super tacky.
The 90s had some cool stuff, but I wouldn't say it was any more logical.
No, it still didn't make sense.
No, the 90s was pretty much a repetitive decade for action movies. You know, the 90s was a repetitive year where 80s kind of godfathered the 90s, but the 80s was tacky. The 90s improved on what the 80s did, but they kept repeating the same thing. The late 90s kind of was doing better with, you know, coming up with different things. I mean, movies like True Lies come to mind. I was a big fan of that.
Bad Boys.
Bad Boys, which...
Yeah. Bad Boys is really good.
I wasn't a fan of Bad Boys.
Bad Boys the first one?
You know, Bad
I mean, I got the classic Dick Tracy suit on and all that.
I was going to comment on that suit. It's kind of fly, though.
That nigga got on the Dick Tracy when he was a cop in Miami Beach, nigga.
Concentrate on the job.
Yes.
Sailing.
Check.
Don't disturb the doctor.
Yeah, these niggas just doing surgery like these niggas ain't got guns. Now that I know what this shit reminds me of Commando. With Arnold.
Yep. It's a lot like Commando.
This is fucking...
But for God's sake.
Yeah.
Any criticisms for this movie? This movie pretty much performed everything that I wanted to do. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie, but I don't have any hard criticisms. I think the only thing I had a problem with is some of the action scenes where it really just looked like people running around in the field just shooting guns at each other. It really, sometimes it really just looked like they
were LARPing.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I was explaining it to you. It's just like, do you remember when we used to be in the backyard playing shootout?
Yeah.
And that's what it looked like a lot of the time. But most of the time, it looked cool when, you know, everything's spread out like. But when they're so close together, it just looked like a whole bunch of children playing shootout. That's my only criticism of this movie. Again, this is a totally illogical movie. Fantasy. Trash. Not trash, but junk food for the mental, but it's stylistically done. John Woo took a genre and added art to it, and I have to give him applause for that. But that's what he's known for doing.
John Woo took a bunch of cliches from the 80s and made them stylish.
Yes.
So what the nigga did is that he took some crayons and colored in the coloring book, but it looked like art.
Anyway, personally, I recommend The Killer. I love this movie.
Good movie. I usually do the negative scale, but I'm not going to do it. This is on the positive
I got him
side.
this time.
So
this won't be the only time I get him. This is not going to be the only time that he would give a positive review to a movie that I show him. I promise. I'm going to get him to love these things no matter what. He's going to have some fun.
The negative scale will return.
But until next time, I'm Ballistic 82.
And I'm Ghost.
Take us away.
And you have been watching us watch The Killer. You ain't got shit else to do, do you? Peace.